Hey guys, Sam here and welcome to a brand new Pokemon Duel video. Today I will be analyzing a match provided by Divani from the S-Clan. Pretty good player who peaked at 4.1000. His links will be in the description below. But he sent me something for me to analyze and to show you guys, which is basically his Rush Heavy deck, which contains Deoxys Speed, Mega Gengar, Koko, Zoroark, and Zorua, or Zoruo, whatever you want to pronounce it, against Altaria decks, which kind of gives me the rights, or whatever, to clickbait the fuck out of this video, and, you know, go like, versus Altaria decks, how to get 4,000, whatever, so that's gonna be pretty sexy. Anyway, so let's go ahead and pause this really quick because I kind of want to give my, opinion. I mean, I'm 3.8 thousand in the rankings, or like, you know, the global ranking, whatever. So I think that my opinion against this deck is kind of valid, since maybe I'm not the best, but still, I kind of know my stuff. Let's go ahead and pause this a little bit. If you find a deck, or if you go against someone who is running this deck, it is kind of important to have two runners, like his opponent is running right here, because there are only a handful of scenarios which are going to present, so you can potentially beat this deck. Otherwise, you're just going to lose in just a matter of like 10 turns or something. So what happens is he opens with a Tapu Koko right here. At this point, you can only go defensive and cover the goal, because no matter what happens, like, you know, I believe the next, and by the way, I haven't seen this, so that's pretty nice. I'm gonna have to, you know, analyze this back and forth to kind of see what happens. So I guess, you know, the next thing that he's going to do is take the Deoxys and go for either one of these inner points, so that, you know, forces him to go either on the defense with a Tapu Koko and, you know, just basically cover the goal, or to risk attacking into the Deoxys, which, you know, since he has this maxed out to dodge, it doesn't really look like that great of an idea if he's not running Terrakion. So you know, I'm kind of going to give my in-depth analysis, and, you know, maybe not every single move, but hopefully every now and then. So he goes for the Deoxys. What happens is exactly as I said. He goes for the double protection here. Go for the Tapu Koko, and you don't really want to attack into the Deoxys Speed, because what can happen is that obviously either the Zoroark or the Zorua can show up and, you know, just basically screw your entire life. Going for the double chance, and what happens right here is that you want to swap the Zoroark, because since the Zapdos has the potential to hit the 140, it's going to be pretty sad, and since he got the cross counter, well, I mean, if you land on your yellow attack, it's basically going to be game over, as well as the Steel Wings, and, you know, since it's obviously going to hit for 80, that's not going to be enough to, you know, hit him. Going to go for the long throw, and now he has 4 figures against 6. And this is looking a little bit better. I mean, the Altaria in itself is a pretty good figure, but, you know, not as super strong. And what happens here, he gets super unlucky. He rolls a miss, but even if you did it, you can only get one more figure, because then the Deoxys Speed could potentially take over your entry point, which, you know, it's kind of sad. So what happened here is he evolves the Gengar into the Mega form. Going for the Tapu Koko, what happens here, he just gets the Toxic, and that's pretty good, since, you know, right now it's not good because, you know, he's still having the Mega Gengar, because if you de-evolve the Gengar, it could be pretty good, since you can go over the figure and, you know, just go for the goal block, for the goal actually, and just take it, and it won't be, you know, the surround wouldn't be triggered, because Gengar's passive would come first. So he only has 2 more turns to do something here with the Mega Gengar, or go defensive with the Tapu Koko, since, you know, it could be pretty good. Goes for the Electro Energy now, since both the Tapu Koko and the Zapdos are next to an electric Pokemon. That's pretty good. Going to give him the +10. He is going to decide to, I believe that was a swap spot, to sacrifice the Gengar to see if he potentially could take something, and he does get the knockout. Goes for the Wild Charge, and this is also going to pay out on his opponent's favor. So the Tapu Koko going to be knocked out, and this is looking pretty good for him in the fact that, you know, he has managed to knock the figures out, which wouldn't really be that common. But also, here he gets kind of unlucky getting the Zoro knocked out. However, he has the Deoxys speed to kind of, you know, just cycle through the figures and to hopefully get maybe the yellow into the purple or something like a roost. So you kind of have to stall at that point. So that's going to be, you know, kind of the main idea of, you know, the rush decks, whatever. So he's going to go for that. So hopefully, I mean, right now they can't really do anything. So decides to go for the attack to see what could potentially happen. Gets super lucky here with a Tapu Koko. And now, in my very personal opinion, and I'm not calling anyone out by saying this or anything, but rush decks are only good if you catch your opponent by surprise at the very beginning of the duel. Right now, I think his opponent played pretty badly, as well as not really having a lot of figures that could potentially counter this type of playstyle, like, for example, I run in my personal deck. So what happens here, it just goes for the max revive just so the Tapu Koko can't take over the entry point. Right now, the Zoroark can't really do anything since, you know, the Zapdos can easily go for, you know, the goal. For the gold block, whatever. He gets super unlucky here, gets the quick attack into the miss, and not really looking good for him at this moment. So what's going to happen here? He just goes for the Zapdos, and right now he just wants the Mega well, not the Mega Gengar. Not really sure why he did that, since, you know, he could have potentially put the Deoxys speed right here and kind of make him choke. You know, that little entry point, so he can potentially have both. So lands the lucky 99, however, it's not going to be enough since he gets the blue attack. Pretty good so far. Now, the Zorua into the Zapdos, not really that great since, you know, even if you land on the yellow, it's not going to be enough for the Zorua to hit the, you know, the punishment. That is only good against the, what do you call it, against the Tapu Koko, so that's looking pretty good. He decides to go for the Gengar to hopefully land the 100 into the, you know, into any of his attacks, really. And, what's going to happen here? So, that could have been potentially good for, to go for a Zoroark Zapdos, because right now, I'm going to pause the game to see if his opponent has any sort of plates left, which I believe he doesn't have anymore. I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to the plates. But the Steel Wing is going to do a whopping 100 thanks to the Tapu Koko as well as the Electro Energy. Well, no, not the Electro Energy, the double Altaria. So that's pretty good. So let's see, he doesn't have any, well, I mean, he only has the Scoop Up left, so, you know, at this point, it's basically pretty good to run anything. Gets super unlucky here and goes like, what should I do? So the yellow into the purple, and it isn't really looking too great. So decides to go a little bit on the defense, and right here, he needs to go, yeah, for either the Tapu Koko or the gold point, since if he doesn't win this, the Tapu Koko could potentially creep up to the gold point. So, you know, at this point, kind of worrying, but not too much, I guess. So Zapdos is going to go for the Tapu Koko. That's a pretty good matchup. However, he gets the Thunder Charge. If the Tapu Koko obviously got the yellow, that would have been really, really bad. Decides to go for the entry point and get that knockout on the Zapdos. And right now, the Koko has 1 weight, so that's pretty good. Now, gets a Flamethrower, and since the Altaria in itself has a boost, the Zorua is going to activate the punishment passive, and it's going to be pretty good. However, that's not going to be good enough since he got knocked out, but that was a good attempt. Anyway, he gets a Wild Charge into the Wild Charge once again, and, well, this is not looking that great for him, so needs to go on the defense, otherwise the Tapu Koko is going to go for the entry point. I mean, he could have potentially gone here and, you know, just kind of hope for the Tapu Koko to go, you know, around this area, because if you have the Deoxys Speed who can get into the gold block right away, that's pretty good. So he gets the 153, and that is not looking pretty good for, you know, his opponents, since the cross counter is going to trigger, Zapdos is going to go to the PC, and right now it's looking pretty good for Divani. And let's see, so what is going to happen? And yes, thank you so much. The Zoroark lands the Sucker Punch. I guess it's kind of popular for the Zoroark to land the Sucker Punch. From many people I've heard that, you know, it's more often than not you'll be able to land it, especially when I ran it in the in the Dark Gym Cup. It landed every single time. So now both the figures are cursed, meaning that obviously if any of them get knocked out, it's going to, you know, be removed from the duel. And what happens here, oof, okay, so get the Perish Song, not really going to be anything too useful. But right now, he needs to watch out since his opponent has a Scoop Up. Let's see what happens here, and he gets the miss, that's pretty good. So now, since he doesn't really have any any danger of being surrounded and getting knocked out. That's not as bad. But he gets Night Daze, and one of the Altarias is going to go peace. What's going to happen next is Zapdos is going to go to the goal point, and at this point it's just like, maybe I really need to attack. That would have been pretty dumb. I mean, especially if he... Okay, right now, obviously, if his opponent landed the yellow, that would have been pretty bad. I mean, if Zoroark landed on his cross counter, that would have been game over. I guess that's kind of what he wanted to do. Maybe you want to attack and have the odds on your favor, but that's looking pretty good. So what happens here? He... Oh my god. Okay, this is looking pretty bad for Divani. And, okay, so right now the only thing to do... Oh, okay, I didn't see he also had Scoop Up. So he has one more chance at landing maybe a dodge or... I mean, maybe the Coco lands the blue or whatever. Oh, that's actually pretty good. So he gets the... Oh, that is so sad. Man, if you ran the... Okay, let's see. Is this Zorua running an evolution? I'm not even sure. Let's see. Yeah, it's not running the evolution. I'm not really sure why. You kind of want to do it. I mean, I honestly don't know. You know, he's a pretty good player and really high rank, so I'm going to guess that he has a lot of materials or has multiple Zoroarks. So maybe that's just kind of intentional. So let's see. He needs to land something pretty good here. Okay, that actually works. That's not optimal, but that's still a pretty good move by the Gengar. So right now you want to go for the goal. And, okay, you can potentially do that, just so you can have 2 chances at that. And right now, it is going to be a 3v3. I really hate whenever anything gets off of the board, whether it's the Ultra Beasts or the Perish Song or the Curse Mark or whatever. I mean, I really like the mechanic of disappearing it, but whenever you have one of your figures banished, it's kind of... Well, I mean, it's not impossible to win, but it makes it extremely difficult. And when your opponent... that was a pretty good move. And when your opponent doesn't have, 4 figures on the field, it kind of makes it a little bit easier. So in my personal opinion, that's like maybe not an easy win. Poor Gengar, dude. Not an easy win, but it's not as rewarding. You know, you have the obvious advantage. So that's like, what do I do? Anyway, going to go for the Zorua right here, and are you going to go for the entry point? Yes, you are. At this point, if you attack the Altaria, you get the punishment. So if you land the, what do you call it? The punishment into the, what do you call? Oh, the 1? Oh man. Okay, so that really coming in handy. So let's see. Going to go for both the entry points. The Deoxys Speed only has to survive 1 more turn, just so the. Okay, nice. Pretty good. Alright, so now the Zorua are going to go for the entry point, I believe. Okay, yeah, there we go. So, just in case the Deoxys gets knocked out, then the Zorua can potentially take its place. It's going to happen. And right now, that's looking pretty good, since if the Zorua lands the white into the single flamethrower from the Altaria, then it's basically game over, I believe. And that's even worse. Oh my god. Okay, looking pretty good. And right now, that's basically game over since, well, if you have 3, if you have 2 figures who are MP3, .mp3, not the audio file, on both the entry points, there's basically nothing you can do. So, thank you very much, Divani, or, yeah, you told me how to pronounce that. His links, again, will be in the description below. That was a pretty fun match. And, yeah, I also have another video, I think it's before or after this. I did a collab with another fellow Pokemon Duel content creator, Giggity Gaming, which will be either right now on my channel or it's going to come up soon. And also there's another video on his channel where I am the guest. So that's pretty much it. So thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you in the next Pokemon Duel video. Have a great day. We'll see you then.